So prior to Gopichand Academy, when you actually started off the rehab program, you felt that badminton is the best rehab for you. And with that amputated leg, how did you take one step after the other? How did you actually do it, and how did you land here?
2016.
Okay.
I left my job and I thought, let me push myself and see what I can do in the field of sports.
Suddenly something happens and the life shakes, and we just don't know, we are clueless as to what will happen. Why me? Why should it happen to me as young as just 22? So did these questions rise, and how did you battle them?
When a snake bites us, we don't ask why that snake bit me. We ask, what is the solution? How do I get an antidote for the poison?
So when you landed here, so how was it? And since this 6 years of your journey in Gopichand Academy, what were the learnings, and what were the new things that you discovered about yourself?
Here we are doing 3 sessions in a day. There I was doing 3 sessions in a week. Here I'm doing 3 sessions in a day. So it was a huge shock.
So the initial days, how was it to adapt to the new system, new culture, and new kind of playing the game?
I had very hard time in finding accommodation. There would be spaces which would not be rented out for months, but nobody would go give those spaces to me, thinking that if I'll be their flatmate, then it will be a responsibility for them. And I also have this belief that we all are chosen one. We all, if we have a purpose, we have to do that. We are here to fulfill one purpose, and we have to do that. And whatever happens, you have to do that. Right?
Hi, hello Mansi, how are you doing?
Thank you, Ms.
Hearty
Prema.
congratulations for being selected for the Olympics.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I feel great. I feel awesome. It's my first Paralympics.
Yeah.
And I've been playing this sport since many years, but this is for the first time. Women's single SL3, the category in which I play, has been part or a category at Paralympics. And badminton being introduced at Paralympics in the previous edition in Tokyo. It's just a very new sport that we are playing right now. And I'm very lucky, happy that the sport that I've been playing since childhood has become a part of now Paralympics, and my event has been added this year.
Yeah, I know. I just want to know, what is your world ranking?
I'm currently ranked number 1 in women's doubles as of today.
With Tulasi Mati.
Tulasi and me we recently became world number 1.
Yeah.
I'm world number 6 now in singles, and Paris rank is 5, and in mixed doubles we're ranked number 7.
Wow.
So it's a
good. That's
number.
good. Actually, a good number. I think I should appreciate you and congratulate you once again for that. But tell me, Mansi, what has changed actually? See, you know that you've been playing as a child and you've been constantly attached to badminton. But what has changed after your accident?
So I've been playing this sport since my school time, with my PT teacher introducing me, like my parents introducing me to sports, but PT teachers in my classrooms encouraging us to be participating in multiple activities. I think for me, the sport over the years has changed. Initially, that sports was for me to get out of from being a docile child into a world of sports and getting and learning from that, to becoming, finding my identity during my teenage, about how sports is important in skill development, in upliftment, in your personal journey, personal development. Then the same sport became my identity during my engineering days, where I used to play the sport to not only make friends, but also relax from the busy schedule that we had during our college, to becoming the top athlete in the college. Then the sport changed for me when I started working, and I started winning in corporate tournaments in Mumbai. And then when I met with an accident, this sport changed when I used it for my rehabilitation purpose. For when I was still learning how to walk again, badminton helped me in gaining the lost confidence of losing a leg and coming back into the circuit. And then that sport empowered me. Now the sport for me has changed into pushing myself to the limit where I can see how much I can do, and what is the physical limitation
yeah.
that I have to put. That is the kind of thing that I'm doing right now, where I'm pushing my limits. Now, even the sport has changed in terms of me finding voice for myself and for many others with disabilities.
Wonderful, Mansi. But tell me, was it that simple and easy? Normally, when we are in some kind of a comfort zone, when the life is going in a very organic manner, in a particular format, suddenly something happens and the life shakes, and we just don't know, we are clueless as to what will happen. Why me? Why should it happen to me as young as just 22? So, did these questions rise, and how did you battle them?
Since childhood, I've been into books. I've read in books, never question the higher whatever is happening to you, and never
Okay.
think why me. Because I'd read one story at that time, and still it's very fresh in my mind, that when a snake bites us, we don't ask why that snake bit me. We
Mm.
ask, what is the solution? How do I get an antidote for the poison? We don't think, snake, why did it bit me?
Yeah.
And it really helped me at that time, that I should never question. And I'm very, very lucky that I had access to best of support system during
Hmm.
my initial recovery days, where I did not find, where I had great comfort in my family, in my friends, and my colleagues, and everyone around me. I think with their support, I was able to deal with a lot of pressure situation.
Hmm.
And I think anybody can deal with, like, life. We don't know.
Right,
Everything is
right,
unpredictable.
right.
Okay, like, I really feel things are unpredictable and nothing is in our hand. It's just that we should be so grateful for living a day that we're living, because you never know what is there for us in store. It
Correct.
can be bad, it can be good. And I always take it with a pinch of salt every day.
Hmm.
And I really feel that we are powerful beyond measure to deal with whatever life situation throws at us. And I also know that we all know the answers of how to deal with that.
Hmm.
Internally, we all know how to deal with any pressure situation. It's just that we have to take that time. When I was in the hospital, I was very happy that I did not question why me, why I had to go through such life changing injuries. And it helped me in dealing with that huge pressure that I had to deal with, and then come back and relearn everything on my own.
So initially, when something happens, the initial days, there'll be a lot of denial. I can't. Why should this happen? So did you go through that kind of denial initially
No.
when you met with an accident?
No, I think I was very detached. I did not get attached to anything that was happening to me. And I think I don't know what came into my mind and how I found the strength. I have no idea.
Hmm.
It's just that I went into a very detachment state, and I didn't want to attach myself to anything. And I know it sounds very spiritual,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I went into that state where I did not think of any outcome. I was very happy to be alive from an injury like that. Uh, and I was very grateful that I was alive uh, and breathing and having great support, my
Okay.
family around me. So I think I was fine with just be able to live.
Did you feel at any point of time that, I am the chosen one, I have some purpose in life? Maybe that's the reason why this all happened, or something else is there in store for me. Did you think of all these things when such
I
things
never felt
happen?
I'm chosen one. And I also have this belief that we all are chosen one. We all, if we have a purpose, we have to do that. We are here to fulfill one purpose, and we have to do that. And whatever be whatever happens, you have to do that, right? Like, your family tells you, the nature tells you, surroundings tells you. We all are born to do something. I didn't think I'm any special, and I
Yeah.
never believed that I have any special purpose in this world.
Hmm.
I just know that I want to be the best in whatever I do. That is my only self goal. That's it.
In the first question, you told me how the game has changed over the years. But before the accident, the game was going in a stream. I mean, it was going like you're going, you're winning, you're coming, you're going, winning. But post accident, it's like you have put in a lot of effort. You've pushed your things beyond your limits, and you're like making it sure that I have to be there in the world ranking, or I should play in the international arena. I should play with the world players. I should prove myself. Did that kind of urge or enthusiasm come inside you?
I had that urge that I want to become better than yesterday.
Hmm.
I'm seriously telling you, I only had that urge. I
That's it.
never wanted to
So you
play at
did not have any
international.
kind of an aim or an ambition.
I didn't want to prove anything to anyone. Even now,
Okay.
I'm not doing to prove anything to anyone. A lot of people tell me, "Do you feel you want to prove it to the world that you can do anything?" And I said, "We all can do everything. I don't need to prove it by winning medals. I just need to do my work." And seriously, it has been very uplifting for me. My
Mm.
job is to come, play, practice, give my 100%, go back home. If I win, great. If I don't win, it's a learning, it's a lesson
Okay.
to be better. Then and from every loss in a tournament, I take those lessons. I come back home. Me and Rajendra sir, our coach, we work on those aspects and areas. Again, go back into the next tournament. And something which I've learned from sport is that there are opportunities again. Like if you lose, there is another opportunity. If you win, you have another opportunity to again be the
Yeah.
be the better version. And that is the best thing I've learned from sports. You do not get disheartened. Your opportunities, maybe this opportunity is lost by losing, but
Mm.
there is another opportunity coming in next 4 years if parallel,
Mm.
like if events are happening every 4 years, in next 2 years if the events are happening annually.
Okay. So prior to Gopichand Academy, when you actually started off the rehab program, you felt that badminton is the best rehab for you. And with that amputated leg, how did you take one step after the other? How did you actually do it, and how did you land here?
It's a very funny story.
Yeah.
So I was working in IT sector in Mumbai. I left my job to pursue sports for some time. I thought, let me see how how I can be better in this area. But I understood that, oh, I'll require so much of funding to continuously play the sport. I had saved financially I had saved some chunk that
Okay.
this is my personal this fund is for my personal development, this fund is for my retirement, some kind of fund I have created
Oh, this was
within
when? At
few.
what age?
This is 2016.
Okay.
I left my job and I thought, let me push myself and see what I can do in the field of sports. At that time, I was pursuing multiple things. I'd got admission in one college. I wanted to, like, I was just at a juncture where I had to choose and pick and choose what path I want to pursue. I was
Okay.
preparing for UPSC also. I was preparing for competitive exams also. I was preparing for my interviews for the next switching in the companies for higher package and better upskilling. Like I was doing a lot of things at one point of time. And again, I was also preparing for sports and I was diverting my time properly in all these areas. Once I realized that I require so much of finances to play the sport and whatever my earnings are won't be sufficient for the next 1 year, I again went back into the workforce and started working. This was in Gujarat. Once I started working in one bank in IT sector, it was very funny that, I tell everybody what my ambitions are in my office, in my college, everywhere. I'm always open about sharing my personal ambitions. So there I used to keep on telling my colleagues, अब मैं ये करूँगी, I'll play this tournament, I require this, I want to do this, I want to play in the best of academy, I want to become the best athlete. I used to keep on telling these things to my friends. So one of my friend at that time, my senior, he comes and tells me, today Gopi sir is going to come to our office.
Okay.
I said, wow, Gopi sir is going to come. Gopi sir was one who had won multiple medals. His students had won multiple medals at Olympics. He is the biggest name. When I was a child and Gopi sir had won all England, I'd made a cut. I'd cut the whole newspaper article and put it in my slam books. I was a fan.
Okay.
So when my colleagues told me that Gopi sir is going to be here, I felt this is like universe giving me an answer that now your time is to change path. I was like, okay, let me know once sir is here. So our office had rented out our auditorium to Sports University of Gujarat, and Gopi sir was one of the speaker there. And I just happened to come out of my cubicle and I was just going to the lift to the down in the floor below, and in that lift opens and Gopi sir is there, and I'm like fan star. Then I tell my colleague, I'll come later. Let me just find an opportunity to speak to him. So I go to him and I ask him, sir, I'm this. I won bronze medal in Asian Games. I won silver medal in World Championship, and these are my credentials. And I'm very hopeful in pursuing this para sports in future. Do you have any scope in your academy to train me?
You just met him and you just spoke everything.
I'm always like sharing 10 stories at a time.
Amazing, yeah,
So
okay.
sir was like, sir, I'm sure sir would be like, I'm here for one event, and backstage pe this girl is asking me so many questions. He said, okay, we'll think about it.
Yeah.
And afterwards, again, I met him once his event was over, and I tried to convince him, and he said that you take my number and you call me, you come whenever you want.
Okay.
And I took his number, and then after 2-3 months, I'm messaging, sir, when should I come? So when should I come? I've thought I will finish this
yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
I got my sports prosthetic made in Hyderabad at that time. I again came to the academy. I met Gopi sir, and sir is like, you come whenever you want. So one day I packed my bags. I called Gopi sir and said, sir, I'm here now. When can I start training? And sir is like, come to academy tomorrow.
Okay.
So since then, since 2018 June, I'm here.
Wonderful, wonderful story. So when you landed here, so how was it? And since this 6 years of your journey in Gopichand Academy, what were the learnings and what were the new things that you discovered about yourself? And when you were actually in the court and playing with your amputated leg in a different manner, because Gopichand's Academy training is something very different and unique. That's what I heard. So how was it for you, and what are the learnings that you had?
So when I came back here, it was like a shock for me, because in my academy or in my training days, I used to play 3 days a week.
Okay.
Rest of the time, 3 days, 2 hours every day. That is the time I used to put in my training. Rest of the time, it's for all other activities. Sometimes if I have to go to gym, I have to find the same time in the evening.
Okay.
So it's like one day gym, one day on court, one day gym, one day on court. Rest of the day is office. So my schedule used to look like that. Even during my school days and my college days, we would be playing with these kind of schedules where 3 days, 4 days a week we are training. Here we are doing 3 sessions in a day. There I was doing 3 sessions in a week. Here I'm doing 3 sessions in a day. So it was a huge shock. I had to adapt to do that, and to get that motivation to do these kind of trainings. In spite of having these amazing achievements in the past, for me it was very difficult initially.
So that means you literally had to start all over again.
I had to. It's like first time
exactly.
And the way I used to hold racket, according to the academy, it was not the perfect way to hold a racket.
Okay.
So I mean, I had to relearn everything. It's like rewiring my brain and change the whole strokes and patterns with the way I used to work. So for the academy, everything was very systematic. And there would be days where I would not find motivation to get up early in the morning and then come back for training, again go back, again come back for training. I would not get that motivation. But then I would have Rajendra sir who would call, Mansi, where are you? We are expecting. And I would say, sir, I'm very tired. Sir is like, okay, finish your sleep and then come here. But you have to finish these sessions.
Okay.
So that was the kind of people we have here who would be always pushing and giving, like who would be motivating and pushing. And the best is the children over here who are training. Like 4:45 bulaya, children are here in the academy. 5:30 bulaya, children are here. And you ask anyone in the academy what they want to do, everybody will tell you they want to become a world champion. They want to become national champion. So that is the kind, imagine 200 children telling you they want to become a world champion. So that is the kind of motivation you have. And then when you get to see the best athletes training and right in front of your eyes, like Saina, you could, at that time there was Sindhu, like if you see these athletes right in front of your eyes, pushing their limits to be the best in the sport that they are playing, I mean, I would feel, what am I doing with my life? I should be also pushing myself, and I would get really motivated to do better. So the environment here is exceptionally motivational.
So the initial days, how was it to adapt to the new system, new culture, and new kind of playing the game? So was it quite hard, difficult? Were you having any complaints?
I mean, nothing, no complaints here. But when I first came back to Hyderabad, I had very hard time in finding accommodation. I had to find an accommodation in shared facilities. So I used to find a lot of buildings, and in Hyderabad there's this group on Facebook, Flats and Flatmates. So where people just find flatmates for the empty room that they have. And I would go to I used to stay in one hotel, and every day I would go out looking for a shared space. there would be spaces which would not be rented out for months, but nobody would go give those spaces to me, thinking that if I'll be their flatmate, then it will be a responsibility for them.
Oh.
So I mean, it was very difficult. I would come back home. Every day I would go to 3 to 4 listings after finishing my training, and then come back home disappointed that nobody wants to have a flatmate because of a very stupid reason that they think I can be a responsibility to them. It took me a lot of time. Usually it's a 3-day job to
Yeah,
find
yeah,
an
yeah.
accommodation. It took me more than a month with various listing visiting, and I don't know how many Ubers I've taken from one place to the other to just find. So for me, that was very difficult to, and I can't explain it to people.
Yeah. Where were you
It's-
staying at that point of time then?
Hmm?
Where were you put up at that
I
point
was in
of
a
time?
hotel.
Oh,
So
you were in
every
a
day
hotel.
I would book hotel for 3 days, and then I was think
Oh.
I would just get an accommodation in the next few days, but I would not. So again, I would book a voucher for next 3 days. So yeah, it was initially it was very difficult.
Yeah.
Then I fell ill because of the food here, because I came from a place where the
Mm.
food was not like Gujarat. We
Yeah,
eat with
yeah,
meetha
yeah.
food, we eat non-spicy food, and here I was taken I would order 3 meals a day, and every day I would just get some spicy food every delivery, and my palate had not adapted to the spice levels here. Now, if you give me the food here, I'll be like, I love the food
Okay,
here. But at
okay.
that time, so I fell ill. I was in the hospital. It was initially it was very tough. But then I came here. I was like, I want to train here. This is my ambition. I want to see how much I can train in the best of the academy. I thought I'll train here for 1-2 years and go back to workforce. But it's been so many years and I'm still doing, I'm learning so much from here.
But you didn't expect that you would become a world champion one day.
No. I did not
That's
even
life.
aim to become a world champion.
Yeah.
But then the hard work that you put, like if you put the right hard work, if you have the right people with you, if you put hard work in the right direction, you are going to be number one in your area.
Yeah.
There's no stopping.
How is the camaraderie here? Like, when you step into the academy, apart from learning, training, apart from the rest of the things that you do, whether it is about food or fitness or whatever it is, how is the camaraderie? How is the friendship, the bonding, the association, and the game, everything, all of these? How is it?
So we have many para-athletes now here. When I came, I was the first para-athlete to be training here in the academy. But after me, there have been a lot of other athletes with disabilities. Few days back, you took interview of Tulsi. So,
Yeah.
So we have a lot of athletes with disabilities, and we have training in that whole batch. The connect between people is just awesome. It's like I won't say family, but it's like there's a lot of friendship in the community, in the whole academy. Plus, I'm training in Sai. We are training like there's this batch of other children, and every time I tell sir, I want this athlete, I want this athlete, I want this athlete to play. Like I just can't play with people with disabilities. Also, I have to play with other players so that my game keeps on changing and I can get a variety in the game. So Rajendra sir and other coaches would keep on giving me different players. That has developed friendship. Now when I came in the academy, I was in my late 20s. And I was playing with children who were 13, 12-year-old. So for me, it was very difficult initially because these are kids. There is this huge generation gap.
Correct.
I just don't know what they talk about, what is their fun event. I'm always, if I'm having friends, talking and everything is with just coaches. And with time, I think I've made some awesome friends, amazing friends here with everyone.
So how is it now when you play mixed doubles or doubles, that you're pairing with some other person, some other player? How easy it is or how difficult is it? How do you cope up?
I think I have got great partners in Rutik and Tulsi who are very understanding of my limitations, because doubles is all about understanding each other and each other's strengths and limitations. So there's this friendship in the game, and I tell Tulsi or Rutik that this is what we have to do. So I bring in experience and they bring in variety in strokes. And I think that combination helps a lot. My partners have disability in their arms with 2 functional legs. I have disability in the lower part of the body with 2 functional hands. And that is a very good combination for us. So in para badminton, there are different categories. My partners play SU5, standing with upper extremity disability. I play SL3, standing with lower extremity disability.
Hmm.
In lower extremity, there are two classes, SL3 and SL4. So I played in SL3. SL3 is for people having higher disabilities than SL4.
Okay.
And in singles, I just play half court. There's a huge understanding between the partners,
Okay.
and I really enjoy playing with both of them.
So let me actually understand how it is. So when you actually play, you stay in one location and you
Yeah.
don't move much.
Yeah.
That's what you mean, right?
Hmm.
The other person will try to help you out whenever
So it's
the
like
cock is
in
going
mixed doubles, it's
beyond
always
your
So
reach.
it's like in mixed doubles, it's all usually it's like women in front, men at the back,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
women
yeah.
control the front
Correct.
part, and men are playing like
Hmm.
more aggressive shots. For me, it's like one corner which I'm completely taking care of, and other corners are taken care of by my partner. So it's like
Okay.
shifting corners here, or I go back, take one corner, I go one other back. So there are 4 corners. We
Hmm.
decide which corners we are taking based on the shuttle.
So tell me, which is the best experience that you had on court? When you must have played some amazing games and you must have loved many of them. But there will be something which is very, very dear to your heart, which you feel very emotionally connected or very empowered when you are actually in the court. So what was that game, if you remember?
So there have been multiple games, but now if you ask me, I get 2 in my mind.
Okay.
One is the first game that I played when I got introduced into para sports.
Mm-hmm.
This was 2014 Asian Games selection trials
Okay.
which happened in Bangalore. I did not get selected. This is my first entry into para badminton.
Mm.
Before that, I'm just playing with able-bodied people with after disability.
Mm.
In that tournament, for the first time, like I had not met people with disabilities, with having multiple disabilities before. I'd met a lot of amputees, but I'd not met or had a long-term conversation or seen
Yeah.
people in action before that. So it was just 2.5 years after I learned to walk again, I got into para badminton. And for the first time I got introduced, I saw how people with different disabilities are playing, and I was like, I fell in love with that.
Okay.
I saw people in wheelchair. There were people on prosthetics and people on crutches, and people are just all over the court doing the best of shots with limitations with their bodies. And I was like, wow, the world is so beautiful,
Yeah.
and these people are making it much more beautiful. So that was my first experience that I recount. And another thing that I recount where I felt really empowered was 2019 World Championship, where I won a gold medal. That match, last finals match, is very close because I had worked a lot. I had played against an Indian athlete, Parul Didi. She's the best player. Before that, I had never won against her. In whatever opportunity I had got, I would always lose. And lose matlab, I would lose under 12, under
Oh.
15. Like I would not even try. I would not even cross.
Okay.
And after coming here in academy and training with Rajendra sir for few years, I got like a good hang of it. And I had told Rajendra sir, this world championship, I want to give my 100%.
Okay.
And sir, we trained, we strategized, we planned the whole training, everything with the trainers, coaches, everything. I go to the World Championship. For the first time, Para Badminton World Championships are happening with Able-Bodied World Championship. Gopi sir is there in the arena at one point.
Oh, that is even more pressure.
Yeah. Pressure plus that happiness also,
exactly.
right? You get
Both
to see the
mixed
mentor.
feelings.
Yeah. And you get that motivation that,
Right.
oh, I have people who are
Yeah.
my well-wishers over
Yeah.
here. So we are in that World Championship arena. I'm completely prepared for this finals match. I mean, I come back winning a gold medal where I'm defeating my opponent in straight games, and I'm having a very good lead in the finals.
Now, I want to ask you about 3 important, moments of your life, and I want you to tell me how you felt at that moment. One is you receiving the Arjuna Award. I think this also must be something which you never even dreamt about, because you wanted to just play your game, but you never had any expectations whatsoever, right? But when you were actually there receiving the award, what was going through Mansi?
So I was in Rashtrapati Bhavan,
Mm-hmm.
in the same place where your India's independence speech, independent India's first speech of independence. I mean, everything related to history has taken place in that hall, and I get an opportunity to visit. I was so grateful to be there. And when President Draupadi Murmu, she announced, when my name is
And the second one is about you being featured in Kaun Banega Karodpati. So you met Amitabh Bachchan.
Yeah, it
So
was
what
great.
was the conversation about? I'm not asking about on camera.
Hmm.
I'm asking you about off camera.
So we were given this vanity vans, or
Yes,
I don't know,
yes,
yeah. Some
yes.
we were given some places to
Yeah.
to do makeup and get ready, and I'm finishing my hair, and somebody comes and says, Amitabh Bachchan sir wants to meet now. You. So I was like, okay, I'm just getting my hair done. So he's like, you have to meet him now because he's waiting. I said,
Okay.
okay. So I just clip my hair and I just come out of the vanity and I go and meet. It was his 77th birthday special episode.
Yes.
So I was a guest for the birthday episode. When I met Amitabh Bachchan, I felt, oh my God, he's so tall. And he told me this one thing that Mansi, do not worry. When you are on the set, just enjoy your time here. I was like, yay! I was just fan struck. I was so happy to be
Yeah.
like getting an opportunity to see him, meet him, and then Amitabh sir is in this KBC question and like between questions,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
now asking me questions based on my journey, my
Okay.
story, which his team has done research,
Yeah.
which his team has taken months and months to talk to me, my family, and get to the whole thing. And
Oh.
he is taking that effort in understanding now and trying to have a very clear conversation. I was like, wow, that's an effort. And the empathy that I've seen from him, the appreciation that I've seen from him, I think I'm just, I think
Yeah.
these are learnings for me that I have to carry that
Yes.
how much ever you achieve, always stay grateful and grounded.
And the third most important thing is the Barbie company recognizing you and honoring you. So
That's
what
very
is that
cute.
story about?
It's actually great. So once I became a world champion, I was trending on Twitter, I was trending on Google,
Google,
and
yeah.
I mean, for me, it was like a moment to just shine and take whatever is coming. So within few months, everything has died down. I became a world champion in August, and by December everything had died down, and people forgot, and people got busy with their own lives. And then we get an email that Barbie would like, Mattel Toys would like to make a one of a kind doll on you.
Okay, Mansi, the Barbie doll.
So we thought it's a scam initially,
Oh,
like
you
not
thought?
a scam, but we
Okay.
thought it might not
Why
be
would this
true.
happen, bolke? Yeah.
Matlab we thought कि oh somebody is like, we hear those
Right.
little things that happen, right, to people. होगा कुछ तो then my sister also gets a call. My sister also manages me, so she gets a call from another one of her friend who is also a part of a team, and they tell her that the Mattel Toys are interested in making one of a kind doll, and we are super stoked, surprised. They ask us to click a few pictures and send it to their team. Yahan se, yahan se, yahan se. From every angle, they want pictures, 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 and we have to send those pictures to them.
Okay.
We sent. We are
Okay.
clicking in the academy.
Okay.
Academy had called one photographer. We are clicking like professional pictures and sending it to their team. And within few days, they say we are going to launch it. This is 2020. They were going to launch it on Women's Day in 2020, but the COVID happened and they shifted the whole dates to International Day for Girl in October.
Okay.
So in October, I had two great things happening in just 2 days. One was the time cover and another was this Barbie. It just happened in 2 days.
Oh yeah, time cover also. There was a beautiful article also, no? Yeah, cover page.
Yeah. So I'm one of the first athlete in India to feature on Time magazine.
Yeah,
in Asia cover,
Yeah.
which was
So how was the Barbie launch? It went on well. It was great.
it
How did
happened
you
during
feel?
COVID time. So when the Barbie team had come for photo shoot, they had brought. It was COVID time in India. Even October was peak COVID time, but they had to launch the Barbie. So they had come with a lot of standees and multiple other launch ideas and events, everything there in my building complex.
Okay.
And in my building complex, we are clicking pictures for the Barbie. In my building ground, we are going where the Barbie doll. Doll got delivered just on the same day
Okay.
that the shoot was going to happen. And when we open it, we're like, wow, this is so cute. This is just like so beautiful. So then we are just imbibing the Barbie, and the team comes. We are then doing photo shoot. They have their hair and makeup team come into our, like they came to our house, and photographers with lots of, we took a lot of pictures in my building complex. Earlier, like we used to set up the whole, this camera lights everywhere in multiple places, wherever we would
Yeah.
feel that this is where the pictures will come out best. And if you see the pictures, these are pictures from my Garka location, from my house. We've
Yeah,
done
yeah.
this
Was
shoot.
it overwhelming when you were seeing all this,
Yes,
experiencing all that?
it was so overwhelming, and it was so beautiful, and my whole
Yeah.
family was able to rejoice. So we used to, after the whole launch is over, we have the Barbie in our house, and then Barbies are like these
Yeah,
flexible
yeah,
dolls
yeah.
where they have a moving hand, and
Right,
they, and
right.
Barbie had also a badminton racket,
Oh.
and the way they had designed it, just so intricate. Like you could see the screws of my prosthetic in that Barbie.
Oh.
My shoe had some designs. My shoe was, I had a special edition UK card, UK Olympics related to some
Okay.
shoe, and they had this whole, the shoe ka only sole only had,
Like, what do you mean?
not this
This shoe you're saying,
shoe
or the leg
sole.
you're saying?
No, shoe sole.
Shoe sole. Okay.
Sole ka small portion had UK ka this skyline. The
Okay.
sole of the shoe had UK skyline,
Okay.
and the Barbie team were able to draw the UK
Replicate that
skyline
exactly.
in
Yeah.
my sole of the Barbie shoe. It was so intricate and so beautiful, and it's a masterpiece. Like you should see it to believe it. It comes with a badminton racket and a shuttle, which I had put, like racket which I had kept in my hand for the shoot. They tried to replicate the whole racket with the same colors.
Wonderful.
It's so beautiful.
Must be amazing. Yeah.
Micro drawings they have done.
How is the preparation going for the Olympics? Now it's just hardly 2 months, if I'm not right. July 26th
Yes.
is
No.
the Olympics.
Olympics is July 26th. Paralympics is 27th of August.
27th of August. So it's like 2.5 months from now. So how is the preparation going, and what is going in your mind right now? What are you thinking?
I am fully focused. Now I've put in a lot of time in mastering my skill, learning to be better in the game, to navigate the whole system. I mean, whatever is required in sports, I've tried to navigate everything, right? From sports to physiotherapy to training to conditioning to nutrition to everything, to mind training to meditation to everything. So now it's just amalgamation of all these things, and I'm currently a sum total of whatever things that have happened. So now I have no chance to make mistakes. I'm right now fully focused. I'm like not distracted in doing anything. I'm just fully focusing on playing the games at Paris.
Okay, I also heard that you're advocating for a cause. The cause is voicing out for the disabled. So what is it that you're actually doing, Mansi? What is that advocacy all about?
I think as athletes or as a person with disability, I'm an athlete with disability. So I know that there are a lot of challenges that I face. And like me, there are multiple other women, men, multiple people with disabilities who have to go through a lot of challenges, because currently we are a developing country and we are still getting to a place where we take everybody together. Now, in taking everybody together, sometimes some people get left out, and unfortunately it's always people with disabilities. I'm right now using my voice, which I've got from sports, into advocating for rights for people with disabilities, and I'm not doing anything extra. Everything is there in RPWD 2016, that is the Rights for People with Disabilities Act, which is one of the world's best acts on disabilities anywhere in the world. So it's one of the most empowering acts or rules or laws. It's just that implementation is something which needs to seep in deep into the society. There are a lot of barriers that exist in our society. Few are mental barriers, and most of them are physical. Mental barriers are the ones which, say that there are some stereotypes related to disability. Like people think, oh, people with disabilities might not be able to do one particular profession or something. So there are a lot of stereotypes also, because there are stereotypes related to even women, right?
Exactly.
So
I
if
was
there
just
are-
about to say that. Yeah.
So if there are stereotypes related to women who have been in the workforce from so many years, people with disabilities also have those kind of stereotypes, and it's just unless we don't speak up, there will not be a change. I have not met a single person till now who says we don't want to work in this area. Everybody you meet always has a deep ambition of working towards people with disability and the upliftment.
Yeah.
It's just that it is not in their topmost agenda in doing that work at that moment. So you have to remind people, unless like you have to tell people, oh, I need this place
Correct.
disabled friendly. You tell your local authorities, right, that there is this pothole in your locality, or there is this drainage which is not working. It's something similar.
Correct.
That you tell that, oh, we need these places as more accessible. And if you see the latest, our building code of conduct says that all buildings in India have to be having proper signages. It has to have accessible entrance. It has to have complete accessibility to each and every floor. It should have fire hydrant system, everything. Like building, there is a building code of conduct, and in that, in the same way, like how it is sometimes not implemented.
No,
because
most of the time it's not implemented, especially when you're saying about disabled friendly. A ramp is the most important basic. It is a basic thing that also is not there.
5,000 rupees, like 5,000
Exactly.
rupees you put on brick and just doing these railings, you can make a ramp on 4 steps. It's just as simple as that. But it's sometimes not the priority. So it's reminding people, oh, can you please do it? Because there is a saying कि बिना रोए तो माँ भी दूध नहीं पिलाती.
Correct, correct.
So you have to tell.
అడగందే అమ్మాయినా అన్నం పెట్టు in Telugu.
So you have to tell that this is what needs to change.
Right.
And unless that voice doesn't come out from the community, that change will not happen. So that is one thing I'm doing, advocacy for change in infrastructure, and also educating people about mental barriers that exist, encouraging. I go and speak at corporates and tell them that hire more people with disabilities, and not just hire. Don't stop it at hiring, because it's like a tick box that people have to do. So don't stop it there. Let people be upskilled in your organization. Just don't think, oh, ye nahi kar payenge. Do think without upskilling, nobody can do it. You have to upskill.
To that matter, people who are completely abled also, sometimes they can't do many things.
They don't want to
so
do
there's nothing about able or disabled. It's just about your mindset. And it's about your upskilling yourself on a day-to-day basis.
Correct.
That's more important.
Yeah. So it needs to have opportunity. Like creating opportunities for growth in an organization, equal opportunities for growth, and then having reasonable accommodation in changing whatever is required. Like if anybody has blindness, then installing software in the system where people with blindness can then function or do all the coding that everybody is doing. For people having some disc related issue or spinal cord related issue, just having the seats which are more comfortable. It's a very small investment. I mean, with very, very limited investment, you can have a huge workforce which is inclusive and accessible, and it can be done. I mean, work can be done in all the areas. So this is one advocacy. Also, I do advocacy in the space of prosthetics. I'm a prosthetic user, and prosthetics are something which are very unaffordable as of now. The best ones cost anything higher than 25 lakhs, which is a huge cost for people, because once if somebody goes through an accident, it's a hospital expense. Kitna bhi insurance ho, you have to pay a huge chunk of money after insurance also. Then you have to come home, do rehabilitation with some clinic, spend money in that. To go from one place to the other, because your public transport is not completely accessible, you have to go by Uber or Ola, and then spend or book a cab or do some, like you have to spend huge money in that. And then when you go there and you find out your prosthetic will cost 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, it is a huge, like, heartbreaking for a person that why did I meet with an accident? So it's like, if we have less expensive prosthetics made available in India, which are made in India, I think a lot of problems will be solved. Another thing I've been doing with my friend Nipun, where he has filed an application or PIL in the Supreme Court in reduction of 5% GST. So
yes, I've seen that in your Instagram also. You've been advocating for that.
So we want to make sure that we don't not only prosthetics but other equipments. So it's like when I'm walking, I'm actually paying 5% of GST to government, which nobody else is.
So when you're doing all of this, are you seeing any change? I mean, is there any response or is there any activity happening? Do you see anybody supporting what you're saying, or do you see anyone joining your voice and making it more impactful?
People join for some time,
Hmm.
then they get busy with their life. But I never force anybody to,
Yeah, you
be a
don't.
voice in that.
But you're continuing. You
Yeah,
want
it's
to
a
make
very
this is an important
small
thing.
effort.
Exactly.
छोटा छोटा effort डालते
Right.
रहना है. बाकी उसका like it's a court case or it's like mental, it's a change. So it takes years. It
Correct.
doesn't happen in one generation. Have patience. Like my personal accident case
Hmm.
is in High Court of Mumbai, Bombay High Court. It
It's
has
still
been
there.
it is more than 12 years. I'm still fighting for a case. So I mean that from that case I've only learned one thing: patience. Without patience कुछ नहीं मिलता. आपको बस निरंतर patience रखना.
Thank you so much, Mansi. It is so nice talking to you. One final word. What do you have to tell to all those people who still feel that they can't do anything in their life? So this kind of a negative thoughts, whoever is getting such kind of thoughts, what do you want to tell them with your own experience? What do you have to say?
One thing I've realized is there's a lot of impact that a life-changing situation does to your mental health.
Hmm.
What I feel is take your own time in adapting to whatever that impact, like whatever that changes. For some people, it's financial. For some people, it's physical. Some
Yeah.
people, it's health. Some people, it's relationship. I mean,
Yeah.
anything which is life-changing has a huge impact on our mental health. One thing I've learned is acceptance. Acceptance at the time when you feel is the right time. There is no time of like ठीक होने का कोई time नहीं होता. If you want to get better, the day you decide today I want to get better from, or I don't want to get affected by that situation, you just change yourself. So one thing I've learned is acceptance at one time. Take your own time in accepting the hard situation, but put in your 100%
Yeah.
time effort into changing your situation. Do not be a victim
Yeah.
of your situation. Never be called a victim of your hard time. Be a strong point of your good time, or learn how
Yeah.
to change your
Yeah.
life and create it into good time. This is like I've learned it
Yes.
over the years, and this is one thing
Exactly.
which
You
I'd like
should
to tell.
you should always tell what you have already done. I think you've practiced all of this over the years. That's the reason why you're telling with your own experiences, and I appreciate that. Wish you good luck, Mansi,
you.
on your Olympics that's going to come, and I'm sure you would again be a world champion once again.
Thank you for
So
your
before we end, I
good
have
wishes.
short round of rapid fire.
Okay.
We've been having a very serious conversation.
Sure.
So, you've been very active on social media, on Instagram. So, with respect to your career, sports career, what is your favorite post that you've posted on Instagram?
I've created reel on my own and posted some workout videos, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
In my free time also. Like that workout videos are like kind of a blueprint that these are the things I have to do in the gym. So
Yes.
these I have to just pick up a dumbbell and do this based on that video.
Yeah. Other than sports, what's your favorite pastime?
Right now it's gardening.
Gardening. Okay. You read books?
Yeah.
Who's your
Just
favorite?
today I've ordered one. I mean, just few days back I had pre-ordered one of my friend's book.
Okay.
And it has reached me today.
So, what's your favorite book, and who's your favorite author?
Recently, I have only read non-fiction, but before that, I used to keep on reading fiction, and I love fiction.
Okay.
So my favorite fiction was at one point Harry Potter.
Okay.
And since then, I've not like changed into other.
Okay. So
fiction.
Harry Potter is your favorite book and favorite author.
Yeah.
All right.
J.K. Rowling.
Okay. If I ask you what is your strength and what is your weakness, when you're actually playing your game, you analyze yourself, right? You know what it is. So if I ask you what is your strength and what is your weakness as a badminton player, what is it?
So let me break it into two parts.
Yeah.
One is the physicality of it, and one is the adaptation into how I think of it mentally.
Okay.
So the physicality in my strength, I'll say my ability to play multiple tosses with the perfection, and then in game, its ability to accept a loss and then work back. It is my strength.
Okay.
In my weakness, I'll say my defense in my game sometimes, like somebody is like giving awesome smashes my opponents, and I'm not like completely ready, so that I can say
That's
that. like if I break it into the non-physicality of it, I'll say I put sometimes like extra. I do some extra efforts into fine
Okay.
tuning my skills that I sometimes overwork, and overworking can sometimes injure me. So I was dealing with one knee injury before, back injury
Okay.
before.
So now, how fit are you now? Because it's been almost 8, 9 years since you've been practicing with your amputated leg. How is it now? How are you? How are you coping up with your injuries? Are you able to manage properly? Are you
So I'm
being
right
very
now
cautious?
undergoing an injury.
Hmm.
I've got 4 vertebrae issues in my back, which happened during my World Championship finals. And since last 3 months, I'm doing continuous rehab, and I'm
Okay.
working on only rehab. So I'm doing very less. Like even since last 2 weeks, I've started on-court activities. Otherwise, I'm just in gym doing rehab exercises.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, after it's not easy
Yeah. Yeah.
being an athlete.
Right.
You get injuries.
Correct.
You tend to overtrain or undertrain, or there are some muscles which are missing in fine tuning. I think that sometimes creates injuries.
So how confident are you that you will get back, bounce back? Because
I'm
it's just
already
2 more months.
right now. I played with this injury in
Okay.
Spain, and I won a bronze medal. So, and I'm much more better.
Okay.
I'm almost recovered now, so I'm very confident.
Wonderful. Who are your role models, irrespective of sports or even in sports?
In my life, I think my parents are my biggest role models. My parents and my siblings also.
Yeah.
I've seen my parents working hard. My father was
Yeah.
a scientist, and I've seen him working. Like even now, he's in 60s and he works. He reads. Even now, he orders book. In my house, every third day, fifth day, there is one Amazon courier which is a book.
Okay.
So my father keeps on reading and ordering books, and I feel there is no. I mean, when I look at him, and I feel there is no age which can stop you from learning new activities or
True.
anything new. So my father, my mother, one of the kindest person. My whole colony knew how kind my mother was. Like she
Okay.
was social as well as kind. So my mother. And in sports, I think Serena Williams, Vanessa Lowe. Yeah, I think these two women are
Okay.
my role models.
What is your favorite food and how do you overcome your cravings?
My favorite food is poha.
Poha.
I
Okay.
love poha.
Are you able to eat?
When I come back from tournament, I tell my mom to prepare poha.
Oh, so sweet.
It's one of the
Here
easiest.
you don't eat here?
I eat here,
Okay.
but I don't make that as good as what my mom does.
So how do you overcome your cravings? Do you have cravings?
I think right now I don't have any cravings. I don't know. I mean, I think with you becoming focused, that craving, sometimes it's like a high calorie diet.
Mm-hmm.
Some days are high
Yeah,
calorie
yeah.
diet. Some days are like I'm currently in a calorie deficient diet. So
Mm.
it's okay. Like if I take one high calorie diet, it's okay. But I then
Okay.
try to tell my coach that, oh, I had a high calorie diet, so we need to work on this space.
What needs to change with respect to para athletes? Important point which you feel that should change. I mean, with help of the government or with the help of the academies or with help of some kind of an initiative.
I think the sport is growing at an exponential rate in the country. If you see the past Asian Games, in this last Asian Games, we Indian team had won 111 medals, which is one of the highest number of medals that para athletes won. This number is better than the Asian Games medal. Para Asian Games medal is better than the Asian Games number. Consistently, Indian para athletes have been delivering the best performances in the world arena. I still remember 2018, I think, Asian Games. In para athletics high jump, in one event, there were 3 Indian flags in the whole arena, in the pole. Imagine. So in one event, like India dominated the whole event. Even in my badminton, you will see 2 to 3 flags of India in the when the medal ceremony is happening, which is like a very empowering thing. As Indians, when you go and see Indian flag rising up and Indian national anthem is being sung, this Indian national anthem does not differentiate if it's sung for able-bodied or para-athlete. That national anthem is the same.
Yes.
The Indian flag is, when it's rising, it's the same.
Yes.
Then why there is differentiation that we have people with disabilities and not with disabilities? I think you see here in last Olympics and in last Paralympics, there were few records or few events which broke records of even able-bodied sports,
Okay. Okay.
which people don't know about. So I think
Hmm.
para sports is nothing to feel, oh, this is something low or anything.
Mhm.
People are pushing their limits. People are the best of athletes. They are athletes first,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
para or able or whatever
Right,
is
right.
later. So change should
Has already
happen in terms
begun.
of mindset.
Change has already begun.
It
You're
has
saying
begun.
it's
You
begun.
see government
Yeah,
support. Support is equal. You see the tops. You see central government, local, state government. You will
Mm-hmm.
see that the differentiation which was previously existing, it is gone. The
Wonderful.
government is rewarding athletes as athletes, not para or non-para.
Mm.
So this is the change. Sport is one of the biggest example that people should follow.
Yes.
And because it shows that with giving equality and with giving right support, you can do anything, be it disabled or non-disabled.
Thank you so much, Mansi. Thanks a lot for your time and wish
Thank
you good
you.
luck, all the best, and advance congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that you would get a gold medal, and we are doing another interview once you get the medal.
Okay. So once we get a medal, we are doing another.
Yes, we are doing another one.
Great.
Thank you so much.